This movie was fucking weird. So I just watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre II, a 1986 film, again directed by Toby Hooper, that follows Stretch, a DJ, reporter, host type girl that, starts to uncover the mystery of plot of what happened to the Sawyer family, or this mysterious family that killed all these people and have killed people since 1974 in the Sally Hartson attack.
This is Stretch on an open request line on K. Oakley in Burke Burnett, Texas. Red River rock and roll from the tip top of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex.
This film is wildly different from the first one. The first one, again, is this snuff type film. It feels so on the ground, so gritty, with a complete build-up of suspense and not paranoia, but really just madness that goes on throughout the film, with all the horrific stuff that these characters have to encounter, and for what the audience has to encounter as well. I think something in this film that harkens back to the other review I just made about the first film is that the first film, it can be hard to get new people to come in because of the, it is just the start of the slasher genre, this whole new different breed, and it's not the same as it is in the 80s, while this film takes place in 86. So it might have a little bit more characteristics that people who are a fan of Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and all those 80s franchises, they may be able to actually get a little bit more from this film. Not 100% saying so, but the atmosphere and the tone that comes from it, they might be more allured to it. That's what I mean by this film is weird, because there's stuff in this film that's different from the first, just tonally wise, atmosphere wise, script wise, that really trying to focus on the black comedy element that Toby Hooper found critics and audiences missed inside his original film in 1974. And in this film, he really decides to really hark onto it. And this film was in pre-production since 1981, after the original film got re-released in theaters, and it was again a financial success. So once that happened, the studio wanted a sequel, but Toby Hooper waited years and years so he could get the right script, and that wasn't until about 1985 when they finally got the right one and he wanted production with it. And though this film is a direct sequel to the original, like I said, it's vastly different, and I guess we can go ahead and start talking about what I like and didn't like in this wild sequel to the first film. Starting up with the good stuff, Stretch. She's a much better main character than Sally in the first film. I love the first film. I love the atmosphere. I love the tone. I love everything that it gives on a scare-wise. But like I said in the last review, a lot of the characters inside the first movie, you either don't know them, barely know them, like Franklin or Sally. You just don't know them at all in the cannon fodder, like the first three characters that are killed. So this film, at least I remember all the characters' names.
So there's the big story. Texas clobbers Oklahoma in Chile. This is Stretch, your fearless reporter, live from Dallas.
Stretch, our main character, is a DJ host who has aspirations to become, a famous news reporter, actually solve cases or go into stuff like that. Kind of, that whole cliche. And here she just has to do music and fluff pieces while doing, nighttime radio. But when she gets a call, there are two kids that come in who just won't hang up the phone and keep trying to prank her and mess around with the whole station. At one point on the road, they encounter the Sawyer family who kill them, and they kill them live on the radio while only, barely anybody's listening to the station, but she obviously recorded it. And then afterwards, against, people's advisement, the next day she plays the tape on the news, try to get people to hear it, get the news out there that someone was murdered. It sounds like a chainsaw attack, which nobody's been able to solve these murders before. And, I think it's interesting that this whole plot only goes because she enacts it.
Special request we're doing this afternoon and tonight. You steady listeners know we're playing this every hour. This is for Lefty.
I love proactive characters in my movies. I think that, she does a good job with it. She reminds me a lot of Jenny from Friday the 13th Part 2, especially the way that she kind of tries to, manipulate Leatherface. I like the idea that this character she's smart. She's not just a damsel in distress. She can fight back herself, and she does a good job doing it throughout the film, especially when it comes to Leatherface. She pretty much tells him to stop, and he does, because he ends up developing a crush on her, and that works to her favor. It's kind of the same thing that Jenny's able to do with the sweater for, against Jason with wearing the mom's sweater. I like a mental manipulation. It works well with the characters, especially when you're going up against this kind of mentally infant type villain. Yeah, okay, understandably, I can see why it would be effective.
How mad at me are you? You're not really mad at me.
So she is a strong protagonist and much better than Sally, and she's at least interesting to follow throughout the entire film. And she does take a beating throughout it, something that I always enjoy watching my protagonists, especially in horror films, take, because they usually don't get beat up until the end, which it does take a lot of damage at the end, but there's just so much stuff that happens to her that I appreciate the fact that they also don't care if she gets beat up, which should be how you do treat your main character, even throughout the entire film. And though the side characters don't do, the greatest amount, they actually still have some memorable stuff that happens. Like LJ, he is one of the producers, like the manager at the news station. He's really the only other worker that works there other than Stretch. And LJ, he just has these like goofy characteristics, but he seems like a pretty good guy, and he doesn't want Stretch to get fired, even when she does make the fuck up mistakes and plays the recording of people being murdered again on the news station. He doesn't want to see her get punished or anything like that, and he ends up just getting killed by coming into the wrong place at the wrong time. And this happens with a pretty good death scene.
Incoming mail!
This is another thing we can get into a positive with. The gore in this movie, even though, critics might detest it, or audiences at the time, they might say that, this is not like the original. The original doesn't have a lot of gore. It's your same testament that people have when it comes to Halloween and Halloween 2. I don't know. I really don't care. We're in a different era. We're in a different age. That was 1974. This is 1986, and I have no issue seeing some blood and gore, especially how this movie is being portrayed. I did enjoy seeing just the chainsaw ripping into people. There was a lot more blood in this movie, which I have no problem seeing with. And if you see my fingers right here, I saw a lot of blood the other day, and I don't have an issue with gore. It doesn't really make me sick or anything like that. So I actually enjoyed that part, and I actually like the fact that Toby Hooper didn't just, I don't know, especially hearing what could have happened with Halloween 2, people just criticized it. It wasn't like he just bent down to the criticism. This is something that he wanted. He wanted to be, it was like an Evil Dead type version of it, where instead of it being subtle with no gore, this one was a lot more, and it was to be funny. To him seeing this was a laugh, and I can see why. Same thing you get from Evil Dead. I 100% appreciate it, and I think that it's actually a good staple to the film. And these two are two major positives in the film, and that is seeing Drayton Sawyer again, the father. I think he's a very underrated villain from the first movie, and I thought that was just, I really enjoyed seeing him just come back, and all of his, He definitely feels like in both films he's the same character, this dark comedy, because that's what it was supposed to be for both movies, but he's the one who is overtly the one who's the funniest, but just kind of how his behavior is. The way he just says weird stuff, in the first movie when he's you got no pride in your home, what do you got, no pride? And just yelling at Leatherface, the way he says things, in this movie when Dennis Hopper as Lefty comes in, and, he barges into the amusement park, and he's there to save, Stretch, Drayton just goes who comes into someone's home singing? Is that the American way now? Oh, I see, it's the pressure game. And it's just everything he says, it's kind of crazy and has its own lunacy in its own right, but he also seems like the most sane one of the family.
Boys. What the hell's going on here? That the American way of entering a man's home singing like that? Oh, I get it. The old pressure game, huh?
I don't know. There's this weird vibe that he has that it carries over from both films, and he's a pleasant surprise, a nice joy to be able to see again, especially because I didn't really know that this film was going to follow the same exact family members from the last one, because of another family member being joined up here, which is Chop Top. Now, Chop Top, I had no clue who he was. I've seen clips of him before. He always seemed like one of the more interesting members of the family, but I've never seen this movie. And, I mean, he is great. He reminds me of the Hitchhiker, and the entire time I couldn't figure out what it was. Who is this guy? Is he just replaced with the Hitchhiker? But that doesn't make any sense, because we saw him get smoked by that truck at the end of the last movie. And Chop Top is not the Hitchhiker. I think the Hitchhiker's name is Nubin too. That's weird as fuck. but he's not the hitchhiker. He is the hitchhiker's twin. And the reason why we didn't see him in the first movie was because he was actually serving in Vietnam, which he has, like, that whole plate and everything like that is where he got from Vietnam. So, like, that's the reason why we don't see him.
I love that. Let's see.
It's a little odd that, for me, I am an identical twin. You check out my twins channel, Film Rook. He just released a new monthly movie review, and I feel like maybe back in the 70s or in the late 60s, especially if you're identical twins, I don't see why both of you wouldn't be drafted, because he's most likely drafted. He probably didn't enact himself. And I mean, you even see that within the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning, where both brothers are pretty much drafted. So yeah, I think that at least both twins would be. But hey, maybe the hitchhiker had like flat feet or something. He couldn't go. I don't know. But Chop Top, this man, I am happy he's back from the war, because he is just as insane as his twin. And it is glorious to see on the movie. One thing I enjoy about both films is that at the end of the film, when your final girl is running away, Chop Top and Nubin, they both, for some reason, they just want to play with their food. They're insane and they want to see pain being inflicted. And so they both just take out their pocket knives and they are slashing the characters just as they run away. They could finish them off. They could try to do more damage, but instead they want to inflict 1,000 cuts. And that's brutal. And again, it's also their arrogance is their downfall there, but it's a brutal thing that they both want to inflict this amount of pain, and they're trying to kill their victims almost the same way. It does feel very twin-like at that moment. And Chop Top, he is more frightening than his counterpart. Nubin, he's insane, and he's one of the scariest members of the family. He's probably very unpredictable. But even though Chop Top is unpredictable, he just has this he just feels angry, and he seems way more athletic and dangerous. He's constantly running up and moving around. I like when Stretch is trying to run away from him. She runs across this bridge, and instead of him just running across it, he just picks himself up on top of the bridge and just it's kind of like a shortcut. And yeah, he's just much more athletic. And at the same time, he gets angry. It's this brutalness where he just seems pissed off while trying to kill you. Not just he's having fun or just kind of doing it psychotically. He looks like he's going to cause way more pain, and he's trying to do it you won't have a chance to survive. He's gonna kill you. And I think that Chop Top is a more menacing version of his brother. His brother's still probably more insane, but Chop Top's a little scarier.
Oh, he did it in my plate. Oh, my brain is burning. Non-flashback. Oh.
Going into the mixed stuff, and we have Lepty here, played by Dennis Hopper. He's someone I like, because I like some of the small stuff that he has, but he's just so small in the plot that I just really don't care. I mean, during the initial attack, when Stretch is being attacked by Chop Top and Leatherface, he's just nowhere to be seen, even though he's supposed to be there at that moment, which is horrible. He's just super late. And then he goes off and he buys 3 chainsaws instead of strapping himself up with as many guns as possible to take down the Sawyer family. I understand you're doing 3 chainsaws and it's chainsaw versus chainsaw is dumb as fuck. I don't understand why you're doing that. They're still giving him stuff to do, and he still he still goes in there. He's still the reason why Stretch is able to live, because he goes in and saves the day. Comes in with a singing. I I don't know. I like his vibe. I like his character. Dennis Hopper he's an actor who I just really enjoy inside any small movie he's playing in. But still, I don't know if the script gives him enough to do to make it to where I can say that this is a definitively good character, or even a character that maybe could have been replaced by somebody else.
I sing, bringing in the cheese. Boys.
But there's a bit more bad stuff than there is mix, and starting with that, I really do not like Leatherface in this movie. In the first movie, he's someone who is completely manipulated by his family and has no motives or personality of his own. He can't do much. And then the personality thing is not an issue, because he is supposed to be manipulated by his family, and that's what he takes on. He just does what they say. And I appreciate that, especially when you see, again, the mental panic breakdown scene. Or when you get in the remake, he's this brute of a monster. He's more of a Michael. He's more of a Jason. And there's nothing wrong with that either. That's the take you want to go with that take, because it makes him scary still. It makes him into this, like, this path that can't be crossed, because he'll kill you if you try to do so. But here, this must be the downfall of Leatherface, the start of, like, these next few movies where he's just dog shit, because, like, this entire film, he has a crush on the main character, which, sure, like, whatever, I don't really mind it, but when he's taking the chainsaw and he's, like, taking it and humping the air and trying to, like, symbolize he wants to fuck her by doing that, or, like, what? Oh my goodness, no way, Leatherface, please. You can't do, like, the Elvis thrust and also still consider yourself a horror icon. I don't see it. You can have jokes, you can do whatever you want with your movie, honestly. Like, in Nightmare on Elm Street 2, people consider him to be, like, the scariest, but funniest Freddy, where he has, like, some jokes, but they're brutal, they're mean, and by the end of it, you get to Freddy's Dead, where he's, like, he's parodying Wizard of Oz in the beginning of the film, and Looney Tunes, but that's the end of the franchise. Like, they were killing him off in that movie. This is the second film. And I understand it's supposed to be a dark comedy or something like that, but still, Leatherface, he humping the air and being just, like, defeated by Dennis Hopper at the end, when Dennis Hopper has the chainsaws, he's able to kill Leatherface. And it's like, okay, so, like, Leatherface isn't even that good at using the chainsaw against other people. Like, that's, I don't know, like, kill Dennis Hopper, like, kill him, kill Lefty. Like, get more, I don't know, I didn't like any of And another thing I don't like inside this movie, not just Leatherface and how much of a bitch he is, but, like, I need more information. I'm not a guy in my horror films where, like, I need to be spoon-fed everything. Obviously, I like the unknown. I like keeping some stuff a mystery, and some stories really work out from using that technique. Even the first film, we don't know a lot about the family. We really don't need to. They're just kind of like a family that the plant, that when the old meat factory shut down, like, this is what they had left. Maybe we don't even know. But when we get to this point, I want to know more about the family members. I want to know more about, like what happened, how they came to be, or something like that. But not only that, like, just some more information. Newbin, like the brother, the hitchhiker, I did not know that was his body. The thing that they keep carrying around, the dead corpse, I knew it was a dead corpse. My girlfriend thought it was the grandfather from the original film. I was like, it's not the grandfather. Like, they wouldn't be doing that with him. But yeah, no, I said it was a grave-robbed corpse that they were just carrying around. But no, it's not a grave-robbed corpse. It's the hitchhiker who they picked up and pieced together after he was killed by getting hit by the truck at the end of the last movie. So they're just carrying around the hitchhiker's dead body, and Chop Top likes to pretend that it's still alive and, like, talk to it and carry it around everywhere because it's his twin. Okay, like, it's crazy, it's nice, something like that, but I didn't get that from the movie. I had to go look that up afterwards, and I think that's kind of like a cool little detail, especially, like, Chop Top taking around his dead twin and, like, pretending it's alive and then use it. I think that would have been cool if we would have been able to see more of that, especially even more of him talking to the body. So I think that was, like, a really missed opportunity, and that also would have been able to give us, and even with him just talking to the body more and stuff like that would give us a clear idea of what the film was trying to portray with that relationship, but they decided not to.
Come here, Nubbins! Where's that old fuck you, Charlie?
And the same thing where it's like the grandmother and the grandfather. I like to be able to hear just a little bit more about them. The grandmother seems dead, but the grandfather isn't. And then you got the grandmother all the way up, and like I don't know if it's like the great grandmother, like the head matriarchy, because she's just a dead body that's clearly already dead. Like, she is, like, already, like, bones and, like, dehydrated skin and everything like that. But Chop Top is also seeming like she's alive, and I don't know if she is or not. And I don't even know, like, even at the end of the movie, when Chop Top, when that matriarchal grandmother is just holding the chainsaw, the Stretch steals the chainsaw from the grandmother, and, like, she keeps trying to start it, and Chop Top does not seem concerned about the chainsaw at all. So at that point, too, it's like, was the chainsaw supposed to be, like, not have any fuel in it? Because how did it even start after she tried it, like, 15 times? And why would she even keep trying it if it seemed like it was empty after 15 times? Like, I don't know. There's just some information in this film where it's like, I don't need to be spoon-fed, but I also don't know what the fuck's going on. Just, like, I don't know why they're in an amusement park. Like, I know it's an abandoned amusement park. I know they're probably just hiding there because of the police, like, trying to do the investigation, trying to find the house, and, like, they have to move. They can't stay where Sally knows where they live. She's gonna direct the police towards them. But really, an abandoned amusement park? Like, Really? Like, that's insane. That feels like such a weird plot point as a screenwriter to be like, these people with no money and they need to keep like I guess a low profile, they're gonna go here, but like I just feel like it'd be closed off. What happens if people, what if like fucking 2 weeks into them living there, a construction crew comes in because they were gonna like take it down or something like that? Like, it's just like, what a weird place, and also what a place that seems like it still might get hit by random people, and or even like businesses or citywide organizations. Odd that that's a place that they can even find stay in. Overall, this movie was weird. I was very conflicted about it when I turned it off. It was kind of confusing to me. I am going to admit that the more I talk about it and the more I think back to it, I did like a lot of aspects of this movie, and I did have fun with it for the most part. And I was even kind of disturbed in moments when Chop Top is killing LJ and just beating the fuck out of him. I thought it was a little disturbing, and it captivated me. It kept me compelled to the screen, and I noticed that where I didn't think it was funny. I just kind of thought it was kind of a scary moment, and I wouldn't want to be in LJ's shoes. But really, like, it's a conflicting movie because I'm just more confused and angry and frustrated by some of the elements about information I don't know or stuff that I don't understand. Like, I like knowing about Chop Top and Newbin as like twins and everything and where Chop Top's from, but I had to go look up the movie outside of it. Even thinking about the carnival type thing, I heard some reviewer, some website that brought out an article on Google saying that, this movie portrays a Texas that just got bought by the highest, or they sold it to the highest bidder, so this Texas has more money and more people inside of it, and that's why it's a more of a potent metaphor on Texans evolution. I don't know. I didn't really understand any of it. That's the whole point, is that it's just so much outside research I have to do just to understand basic stuff like, why are they in an amusement park? Weird. The anger and frustration I have on just random elements of screenwriting in the film kind of conflict with how much I can enjoy it overall. But hey, you know what? It's a fun movie. You should definitely check it out. I think that's probably going to be the only film that I'm conflicted on that I think is decent or not. I'm going to go with more decent, but I'm sure the next films that I watch, I'm just not going to enjoy at all. Alright, well, that concludes this review. I'm really hoping I could just speed through the next movies and just start the next review franchise, because I really am not looking forward to all these Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies coming up, especially the ones I've seen. I hate rewatching those ones. The bad ones. But at least, I'm going to take a little break and talk about a different movie for my next review. So we'll see how getting a little refresher will make me feel.